I mentioned this earlier. One of the things that has inspired me most about Finnish education is that they care about joy in schools. And joy is just not a word that I've heard discussed in the context of education in my home country. And I'm wondering if you talk a bit about joy in Romania, in the context of schooling. So I want to start with a warm-up. And there's this great website called Answer Garden. We're going to look at that in a moment. If you need access to Wi-Fi, if you go to the Europosala and then you enter the password as Europa 2017, 2017, then you'll be able to get connected to the Wi-Fi. During this workshop, I would like you to be working very hard. As I was taught when I started my teaching career in the US, that the person who does the work does the learning. And so I think it's very important for you to do some exercises with me this afternoon. So the first exercise is answering this question. What does joy look like at school? So would you please go to this URL, answergarden.ch 712-619. And would you please submit your answers? Would you show that page? And as you are submitting your answers, we'll be able to see your responses up here on the screen. What does joy look like at school? You don't have too many characters to work with, so you'll need to be brief. What does it look like at school? If you agree with a response, you can also enter the same thing, and then what will happen is that that response will become larger. Got it? Does everyone have a URL? Okay.
No.
There we go. Pause. So this is our warm-up. What does joy look like at school? Is everyone all set? Can we go back to the other page? If you're stuck, ask your neighbor. They can help you out with the URL. Let's check out the other page. Joy looks like smiling children, discovery, kids play and laugh, relaxed atmosphere, friendship, be good. And lots of other ideas too. I'll give you another minute to add your responses, and then we will move on to the next part of the workshop. Freedom, no fear, find inspiration, sports and breaks. Play seems to be a really important theme. Showing respect, happy faces, movie time, love. And I'm seeing the word free come up a lot. Freedom, free time, free to be. The aha moments, discovery, service learning, lots of great ideas. This has been a really good warm-up. Can we get back to the other page? We will have, as a closing activity, we'll get back to the Answer Garden website, but we'll have a different question next time. Why joy? Why is joy important? Why is Finland emphasizing the joy of learning in its new curriculum? Well, when we are motivated to learn something, we will ultimately learn that thing very well. So that's very important. Kids don't learn very well when we're just forcing them to learn things. They also don't remember very well. And there's an old Finnish saying that goes like this: those things you learn without joy, you will forget easily. Those things you learn without joy, you will forget easily. And in my book, I talk about what research says in regards to joy. What does it mean to experience joy? There are several key ingredients. The first ingredient is well-being. So you need to have your basic needs met. That's a very important thing. The other ingredient is a sense of belonging, to feel connected to other people. Another ingredient is autonomy, this sense of freedom. And then another key ingredient is a sense of mastery or competence, this feeling that I can do the work that's expected of me. And then another ingredient that I talk about in my book, but we're not going to focus on, is this mindset that is not competitive, but it's this idea of seeing that everyone can grow and contribute to society or to their school, but there's a lack of competition. It's what I call an abundance-oriented mindset. Okay, so we're going to do something called carousel brainstorming. Has anyone ever heard of carousel brainstorming? It's this idea that everyone is contributing different ideas, but then they're moving around the room. Have you ever seen anything like this? Would you raise your hand? Okay, I see a couple hands. Great. Well, this is a really fun activity to do with kids, but it's also a really fun activity to do with adults, because let's be honest, adults need to move too, right? It's not just kids that need to be physically active. We need to be physically active too. So, let's move on. The question is this: what educational practices or strategies encourage joy? So if you really want joy in our schools, what are some practical things that we can actually do? And in my book, I'm suggesting lots of different ideas, but here's the thing. I know that you have all these different solutions and all these different ideas for how to make school more joyful, and so this is the time to share those ideas with each other. You don't need to write in English. You can also contribute your ideas in Romanian, but this is how it's going to work. There are 4 different stations around the room. and they are related to the 4 ingredients of happiness. There's belonging over there, well-being, which refers to health and your basic needs. There's mastery, and then there's autonomy. And so what's going to happen is you're going to start in a particular corner, and we can think of this room as being divided into 4 sections. So this section right here will start here on the stage. You can stay there for now, and I'll call you up in a moment. Then this section will be there, where it says mastery. And then that section all the way over there will be starting right in front of the autonomy sign. And then this section in the back will be right under belonging. And so here's the idea. You will get sticky notes at each station, and also there will be pens provided. And so this is your chance to write down a specific thing that you can do that relates to the ingredient that will ultimately encourage joy. So for example, in my book, I talk about the importance of brain breaks. So instead of being in the class for an hour and not getting any break, it's really important to give kids the opportunity to move around, to get refreshed, to disconnect from their work. So one of the things that I would write down under well-being would be give kids brain breaks. You don't have to write complete sentences. You just need to write something that will be clear to others. And the idea is that you'll be contributing ideas, and then you're going to be moving around the room, and you'll get to see other people's answers, and you get to build on their ideas. And then hopefully by the end of our time, we will have an amazing collection of practices that inspire joy. And I'm hoping that we can make that public at some point, but write it up. I'd be willing. If the responses are in English, I won't do so well if it's in Romanian, but we'll work together to then publish your ideas. Because I promise you, you will have more than 33 ideas. I only had 33 in my book, and I have a feeling that you will have many more than 33 great ideas for encouraging joy. Also, I've chosen a special playlist of music. So when I've done a carousel brainstorming activity before with adults, I've had a bell with me, and then every few minutes I ring the bell. That's not a good strategy. It could be much better. It could be more fun. One of the strategies I talk about in my book is bring in the music. So I prepared a special playlist for you. And we have a transition song I think you'll enjoy. Yes? Okay, this is the transition song. When you hear this song, then you're going to move to the next station. Each song is about 4 minutes long. When that song comes to an end, that's when you're going to hear the transition song, so you should move to the next station. At the very end, we'll then get back to our seats for our closing activity. So right now, the transition song is playing, so would you please go to the first station? just yet. Wait for the transition song. If you don't mind, stay where you are. This song will end, and then you'll hear the transition song. Here's the thing, I don't want to restrict your freedom. So if you feel like you are ready to move on to the next station, you may do so. You don't have to follow my orders. That's only my suggestion. But if you would like to check out another station, you can. The point is that you're contributing your ideas and that you're moving around and you're staying active and happy. Sure that you visit the next station. Visited every station, then please take a seat. But there's no rush. We still have plenty of time. Know that song. So please transition if you haven't transitioned already. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm feeling very inspired right now because when I look around the room, I see that there are hundreds of ideas that you've contributed, and I'm very grateful for the work that you just put in to contribute these ideas. So I'm going to work with Alexandra to find a way for us to collect these ideas, then type them up, and then we'll share them publicly so that you can take these practices that you've helped develop with you. So we'll get back in touch about that. Now, we have something very important to consider. So now we've just thought of all these different ideas as to how we can encourage joy in our schools. And the next step, oops, not yet. We're not doing that yet? There we go. Thank you. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to think about one thing that we will do to prioritize joy next school year. So if you look around the room, you see that there are hundreds of ideas on these sticky notes. But it would be overwhelming if we felt that we needed to implement all those things. That would not be helpful. So right now I'd like you to think about one practice, one thing that you can do to prioritize joy in your school. Whether you're a principal or a teacher, I'd like you to consider what's one practice that you'd like to develop next school year. It could be mindfulness in the classroom. It could be getting outside more with your students. It could be encouraging more teamwork in the classroom. I have a feeling that as you were walking around the room and contributing ideas, there may have been one or two ideas that stood out to you and you felt your heart gravitate toward. So I'd like you to consider right now, what will you do to prioritize joy next school year? I'd like you to have a conversation with one of your neighbors or both of your neighbors. Share with them, what are you going to do to prioritize joy next school year? And then once you do that, there's another answer garden. Then I'd like you to go to that URL, answergarden.ch, 712-616, and then I'd like you to share, what are you going to do to prioritize joy next school year? So please talk with each other, and then once you've had a conversation, then please visit the Answer Garden website. Okay. How many of you have had a chance to enter a response here on this website? Would you just raise your hand so I have a sense of how many? Okay, about half. Okay. You can feel free to continue to add your responses. Right now we just have about 5 minutes left, but I want to give a few educators here the opportunity to talk about with everyone what they're going to do a little bit differently next year to prioritize joy. Feel free to respond in Romanian or English, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk about what you're going to do. So would there be anyone who would be willing to share? Of course, we have lots of different responses here, but I thought it would be nice to hear from a few of you.
I don't speak very well in English, but I don't know correct, and I think that I have to let them speak more about them, because we have so many things to teach them, and we cannot listen to them. And this is frustrating for them, I think, sometimes.
So you want to give kids more voice in the classroom. Yeah, that's important. Yes.
We are a group of teachers coming from the same school. So we were thinking we were thinking about ourselves also, how to have more time for team planning, team assessing, team everything related to getting to know the students better. So we said, why not to have the school starting Monday with the yoga session for all the primary students, so that we can have time for planning and time for sharing experiences. And then, why not to end the school week and to do the same on Friday in the morning.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds great. I've heard of teachers giving their students yoga breaks. So that's one possibility as well, yoga breaks throughout the day. Would anyone else care to share?
Thank you. So for kindergartens, especially, but anyway, for every children, every adult, I think learning by discovery is the most important. So for next year and every year, prioritizing is this: learning by discovery and learning by doing yourself, and of course in nature to start. So from this point, anything can be possible, because nature develops your creativity, your imagination, your intelligence. Viewing nature from different perspectives, maybe climbing a tree, you'll observe something new, but it's there for you to see every time. So this will be the first one, exploration.
That sounds wonderful. Great. Yes.
Personally, for me, it would be sharing joy and showing how joy can exist, as in whatever I expect from children as in activities to feel joy from, I should model that, how joy looks like.
That's such a good point. Yeah, how can we expect joy from our students when we're not happy ourselves? We have an expression in the US, if mama's not happy, no one's happy. And I think you could apply the same thing to, if the teacher's not happy, nobody's happy.
Hello, my name is Maria. I'm an English teacher, and I think the next year I will teach with more fun activities, and I will try to listen to the children's needs more. That's all I have to say.
Alexandra, do we have time for one or two more? 2 minutes.
Well, I have two ideas because in my classroom, everybody who doesn't know to play football is not good at anything. So I liked very much an idea somewhere here who said, somebody said that let them teach us new games. So I wanted every week, I will want every week a child to invent a game and to teach us and to play all the week. So we will have about 20 games per year. So another idea it crossed my mind is about to give each other gifts made by them, presents made by them from different things. So there was another idea about the start of the week. So the start of the week has to do, in this week, 29 presents made by them to the others. So at the end of the year, they will have 29 gifts made by their colleagues.
These are wonderful ideas. And this is our last one, unfortunately.
I do believe that as principals it's our role to create a culture, an organizational culture of joy in our schools. So as a principal, I will make a beautiful lounge for my teachers. I want bean bags and I want a joyful space for them. Because yes, we're in a different city, we're not employed. But I think once they are infused with joy, they'll take that joy into the classroom. I truly believe that.
Wow, what a great one to finish on. Thank you so much. How many other principals are here? Is anyone else a principal? Okay. Please consider doing the same thing, because in Finland, even if a school is not so beautiful on the outside, the teacher's lounge is usually gorgeous, and it's very inviting. And so, please, I think making the teacher's lounge very inviting for teachers is a great starting point. That's great. It's been a lot of fun to be with you, and I'm just so grateful for all your wonderful ideas. And stay tuned for these ideas to be put together in a form that you can refer to. And I wish you an amazing summer, and I wish you an incredible next school year. Thank you, everyone.